This episode of the podcast is brought to you by VR Parties and Events. VR Parties and Events is a virtual reality video game rental service located in Albany, New York. VR Parties and Events believes that it is time that the party entertainment industry moved into the 21st century. Kids love parties, and kids love virtual reality, so make sure your kid loves their next party and call VR Parties and Events today. Go to vrparties.org or call 518-880-9876. Hi everybody, and welcome to the VR Podcast. My name is Riley Seberg, and I'm your host. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some great articles that I found on Reddit, but we could officially call them some virtual reality news stories, right? But first, I wanted to let everyone know that Steam is having a huge sale on virtual reality games for the springtime. I'm not sure if it's just VR or if it's the rest of Steam. I should probably check that. Let me check that real quick, and then I'll get back to you guys. One sec. Okay, we're back. Yeah, so this sale is just pertaining to virtual reality, but let me tell you, it is ridiculous. Okay, so let's just go for example. Tilt Brush by Google is 50% off, down to $9.99. Let's see, Pavlo VR Shooters, 40% off, down to $5.99. Space Pirate Trainers, 40% off, down to $8.99. Star Trek Bridge Crew is 60% off, down to $19.99. LA Noirs, 25% off, down to $22.49. Job Simulator is 10% off, down to $17.99. Virtual Desktop is 33% off, down to $10.04. Fallout 4 VR's 30% off, down to $41.99. That is a huge steal, and I'm jealous of anybody that gets it because I had to pay $60 for that thing. The Blue, which is like a television series that has to do with whales and stuff, is 30% off, down to $6.99. Batman Arkham VR is 50% off. Whew. All in all, there's over 60 titles on sale this time around, and this is really big sale. I was just reading on Reddit, kind of like a pessimistic angle towards this sale, and essentially I mean it might be true, but they're saying it's because there aren't really many people buying these titles, and so the developers are like having to make some pretty big price cuts in order to raise funds for their projects. All in all, that's pretty sad, you know, but I think that's just responding to the market. Like it's in all honesty, it's kind of hard to feel sympathetic. Well, not sympathetic, but it's hard to feel sorry for video game developers, like especially in the VR field, because it's like you got to think about it. Eventually, they're gonna make money, right? So like just because they're not making money now doesn't really mean anything, because everybody knows that this is this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, you know. So the problem is just the consumer base isn't there yet, you know, and that's just a matter of time, you know. So I don't feel sorry for the people who are falling out, because in all honesty, that's just the way things work, you know. I'm really, what I'm more encouraged to see is who has enough grits to hold on. But I do understand the point where, you know, you can make the argument that because it is taking a little bit longer, and that the customer base isn't there, that it's allowing those who don't really have much money, like the smaller video game developers, you know, like the onesie twosie people that are just doing it by themselves without huge backings. They can only do it for so long, you know, and so that kind of makes sense. But like, who makes the best video games, honestly? Like, well, I don't know. I guess that's kind of a mixed bag, right? Because there are some pretty good independent video games, but for the most part, they're put out by pretty big video game studios, you know. And the thing is, like, we don't really have many big game studios that have released games. Like there is a bunch that are developing them, but nobody's really released anything too crazy yet, except for the three big titles out there. Fallout, what's the other? Skyrim and Tomb Raider, you know. But Ubisoft also got into it too. I think they put out 3 titles. So let me bring you guys some stories. And yeah, I'm really happy with the leaning of these stories, right? Like they tend to trend towards positivity, and that's really good, man. I like to see that this news is hopeful news and not news of like inevitable doom, right? So this article is from Engadget. It was originally posted on Reddit. The title says, "Full Sail taps virtual reality to help online students feel less isolated." This was written by Timothy J. Sapala. Essentially, what this article talks about is how there's a company out there. Full Sail University, right? Okay. So the company is Doghead Simulations, and essentially what Doghead Simulations has done is they've developed a virtual reality video conferencing software, right? And so like essentially you have your own little avatar, you personalize it, and you hang out in a room, and you can do presentations. You can essentially do like all type of classroom stuff. You can show your screen, do lectures, and show videos and stuff like that. If you think like kind of like an alt space VR, but a little bit more formal, like a LinkedIn for alt space, like yeah, like a LinkedIn, right? But like it's funny because this I haven't really been writing about this too much, but I've been thinking about it more and more, and I think that the future of school is going to be essentially where people are like their avatars are walking around interacting with each other. I don't think people are going to be, maybe not like 100%, but I maybe I did talk about this last episode, but I think that there are going to be some of us that send our kids to a virtual school, like a virtual high school, you know what I mean? Especially if we're in interplanetary species, right? Like that'll make it way easier, you know. Instead of actually having to go physically to school. I don't think we're going to do much physically in the future, quite honestly. But yeah, so this article talks about how there's a school, Full Sail University, and it's I think it's a high school. I'm not sure. I think it's a high school. But there are drawbacks. Full Sail University hopes that implementing virtual reality into its courses will help eliminate some of those faults. Let me do some. I probably should have Googled this before. Full Sail University. Let's see. It's a private for-profit university in Winter Parks, Florida. Okay, so it's a school with about. Its mascot is an airplane. Huh. Let's see what it is. Offers degree programs that are designed for the world of entertainment, media, arts, and technology, offering associates, bachelor's, and master's degrees. Full Sail's approach is centered on real-world industry experience and creative problem solving. So that's pretty cool. It looks like these guys are pretty innovative, and well, they see that the college is going away, so it's smart that they're making this transition. So yeah, this is really, really exciting, right? I personally, as a kid, I hated going to school. I hated it, right? And it would have been so much easier if I could just hang out in my underwear, put a headset on, and sit in class. Like, right? Like you don't have to be physically somewhere in order to learn, right? I really hope that people understand this concept pretty soon, because it's like one of the fundamental truths of the human experience is that like you don't actually have to physically be there, you know, like that's why you can read books and watch movies and kind of like get the understanding of what's going on, you know? It's why people watch documentaries about things and read books about how to do stuff, you know, like I personally I just think that it's the next step towards education and I think that whatever can increase efficiency, like think of how much just in gas price alone, how much we spend transporting our kids to and from school, right? On these big yellow buses that burn diesel fuel. Like, think of how many thousands of gallons that is a day transporting the country's population to and from school. Like, imagine if we didn't need to do that, you know? And think of how much time is wasted in the kid's life being transported to and from school when they could just wake up, put the headset on, and go to school, you know? Like, life would literally be so much easier, you know? Anyways, that's just one thing. Like there's so many things, and I'm so passionate about this that I sound a little crazy when I start talking about it, you know. But it's the truth, man. It's the truth. It's going to happen. I guarantee it. Anyways, all right. Okay, so this next story has less. It's not about virtual reality, but it is about augmented reality, and I'm kind of tying the two together. This one is like less about video games, but anyways, this article is about a Google product, and it's from UploadVR.com, written by Jamie Feltham. And it's titled, Google's Augmented Reality Microscope Quickly Highlights Cancer Cells. I'm going to repeat that. Google's Augmented Reality Microscope Quickly Highlights Cancer Cells. Google research this weekend revealed an AR microscope capable of detecting cancerous cells in real time with the help of machine learning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. How insane is that? Right? Like, man, that's so cool. Think about how much less time. Like this is just one area that we're gonna be able to use machine learning to take out the human variable, right? Just one area, and like here's the thing: it's not even like most of the time it's probably not even going to be taken out. It's just going to be assisted by it, right? So the computer's going to detect it, the doctor's going to look at it, and then he's going to be like, "Yep, that's cancer." But the computer can find something way faster than we can find it. Like the raw data processing power is just like it's so much better than we have in our brains, right? So this is literally the difference in life and death. I mean, this is a huge, like, you can say what you want about Google as a company, but this is real cutting edge stuff. Like, it's gonna save lives, you know? They have a video here. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show it, but, well, I'm not showing it. I'm playing the audio, so. Anyways, I'm gonna play it.
There's no cancer treated without understanding what the pathology is.
The tissue slides that pathologists use to diagnose cancer contain a vast amount of information. It's very time-consuming, very fatiguing.
Every cell needs to be examined. Sometimes cancer is very difficult to recognize.
We had the idea for the microscope project about a year ago. It brings augmented reality into an existing microscope to detect cancers in real time. We're bringing AI directly to the user and meeting them where they are right now.
I think this is going to enable almost all pathologists to have access to machine learning.
Just a few weeks ago, we got working end-to-end.
It has a camera, so it's seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Information is being fed into a computer, which is doing billions of calculations and telling me that's the tumor, that's not the tumor.
Right now, it detects breast cancer and prostate cancer, but it could also work on any other cancer type that we train models for. The knowledge that you're getting when the microscope points out cancer to you is the knowledge of many pathologists who contributed to training the machine learning model.
We had a team of pathologists that went through thousands of images, teaching the computer what cancer cells look like.
I I think it has been very effective at locating areas of concern. It's like getting a second opinion.
It's going to make the doctors much quicker. They're going to make them better, which is going to overall benefit the patient.
The mission is to increase the accuracy and availability of cancer diagnosis and save people's lives. I can hardly think of anything that's more motivating.
How awesome is that? I mean, it's one of the, like, people are scared of the robots taking over, right? And they're so scared of AI and machine learning, and I like it's really because we sorry, that was probably way too loud. But yeah, it's really because we never really had something to like a tangible thing to put that idea towards in our mind. Like we weren't really quite sure what we could be using AI for, you know. And so when you don't know the potential uses for something, like more often than not, as a society, we always just go towards the negative aspect of something, like the negative potential consequences. It's just what we do as people. And so like it's thankfully there are people out there that don't just immediately go towards the negative and that set out to prove us wrong, you know. This is an amazing story, and I really do think it's going to start. It's going to considerably help save people's lives, and it's not just this, right? It's not just the fact that cancer can be found, but it's the use of machine learning in the ways that it can like benefit all types of industries, you know. It's really going to like disrupt how we live our life. I don't think we really understand it. I don't think we are like I don't think we have the the capabilities to totally grasp like how much our society is going to change. So this next story is really cool as well. It essentially is a new technology for mixed reality that will turn any surface into a touchscreen. And let me see. There's a video right here. It's a 5-minute video. Okay, so it's called MR Touch, adding touch input to head-mounted mixed reality. The lead developer is Robert Zhao, and I think this is done by Microsoft Research. So they have a white paper. It's available at robertZhao.ca/research/MR Touch. And yeah, this is it uses infrared cameras, the 4K camera, a bunch of different overlaying technologies to really formulate like a three well, I guess it would be a 4-dimensional view of what's going on, and it uses really good machine learning to calculate what you're doing and what surfaces you're pressing on and like what you want done. Their research prototype combines both depth and infrared camera streams together with real-time detection and tracking of surface planes to enable robust finger tracking even when both the hand and head are in motion. Their technique is implemented on a commercial Microsoft HoloLens without requiring any additional hardware, nor user or environmental calibration. So I guess this is just a piece of software that you download, which is pretty great. Through their performance evaluation, they demonstrated high input accuracy with an average positional error of 5.4 millimeters, and which is not big at all. I mean, like if if you're trying to type on an iPhone, yeah, that's a problem. But if you're using like your whole room as a computer board, then it's pretty damn good, right? So 5.4 millimeters and a 95% button size of 16 millimeters. So essentially, it's a 95% accuracy rate on what you're trying to click across 17 participants. 2 surface orientation and 4 surface materials. They demonstrate the potential of their technique to enable on-world touch interactions through 5 example applications. And then it shows some pictures. Yeah, so this is pretty cool because what their idea is, they want to turn the mixed reality headsets into a standalone computer, so that you can essentially do everything you want to do with a desktop or a laptop with your headset. And I don't see, like, it, to me this just makes sense. Like I see it as the next logical step forward. Maybe this is like a groundbreaking shift, but I doubt it, right? Like we talked about this in the 80s. Well, I wasn't born yet, but the movies did, you know. Listen, this is coming, right? We're gonna be living our lives completely differently. I'm telling you. Like, I can't remember who said it, but I remember somebody famous asked their kids, like, when you grow up, what do you think your kids are gonna think the craziest thing? Like, what do you think the kids of the future are gonna like not believe that we lived our world with? And it's gonna be wires. Like the kids of the future aren't gonna they're not gonna get wires. It's not gonna make sense to them. It's gonna be like, why would you guys use wires, right? But think about that. Like, think about the kind of mind that develops in a world where there's no wires, right? It's like, wow. Imagine the possibilities. When I think about virtual reality and I think about like augmented reality and the technology that associates the two, like I said before, I mean, I'm really not thinking about video games. Like, I mean, as fun as they are, I'm just not. I'm thinking about, oh man, literally the future of like humanity. I'm not sure why, but I just feel like as the internet starts to evolve our culture, like, it seems to me that virtual reality is going to be maybe internet 4.0, right? Like I just see it as a next logical evolutionary step, and it may still be early, but I think there's a lot of canaries in the coal mines, right? I think there's a lot of seeds that are being planted that are going to bloom into some pretty damn beautiful trees 20 years from now. And with that being said, I think that will bring this episode to a close. I will have another episode in about 2 days from now, probably. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes. We're also available on... Hold on, let me just go real quick to Anchor and find out exactly where I'm available. Because... Let's see. Sorry, I should probably cut this out, but it's okay. So, we are available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and now Pocket Casts, which we have 2 downloads on. So, hey, to you guys listening on Pocket Casts, thank you. To everybody listening else, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to share this podcast with your friends and everybody you know that's interested in virtual reality. That is it today for the VR podcast. My name is Riley Seberg, and thank you so much for listening. So I just wanted to share something real quick. As many of you, well, if you're listening to this, you can probably tell that I'm pretty new at this. And as I was editing, I was real keen to the fact that I have a favorite saying, a favorite phrase. Can you guess what it is? If I tell you, it's going to trigger what's known as your reticular activating system, and it's going to annoy the crap out of you. So I'm going to tell you. Because in the future, I promise you, I will try very, very, very hard not to say this in the future. This phrase is, and seriously, I can't count how many times I said or and I was trying to edit out how many times I did. Like, I was trying to actually edit it out, and it was exhausting. So I left it in there for the most part to make it sound a little bit more natural. There's a little bit in the middle where I was editing it out. A couple places where I go for a little bit without saying and but I promise you there's enough in there to make it sound just enough annoying. So for next time, I promise you, I will try and pick better words in the future. Also, if you can count how many times I say and email me, Riley at VRParties.org, and I'll have a special gift for you.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.